No one remembers how long it's been since the stars were free. They say there was once a time when a galaxy thrived with civilizations older than planets, where thought alone could warp space and empires bloomed like fire across the void. But that was before the walls went up, before the signal turned quiet, before the humans came. No one ever saw Earthrise. By the time the rest of the universe realized what was happening, it was already too late. It began with the blackout, a 1,000-year silence that smothered interstellar communication. Whole sectors blinked out like dying neurons, one by one. Ships vanished mid-jump. Wormholes collapsed into static. By the time contact was reestablished, only fragments remained. Data was corrupted. Coordinates scrambled. Entire species had been erased from memory. But not by war, not by invasion. Something far colder. The humans hadn't conquered. They contained. The prison network was first noticed by the She-Thrall, deep-sense cartographers of folded space. They reported anomalies, consistent space-time distortions that defied entropy, artificial boundaries stretching across parsecs, pulsing with a rhythm no natural phenomenon could explain. They called it the grid. Within it, stars lived and died without ever being seen. Ships entered and never returned. Whatever lived inside the grid never left it. And then the drones appeared. Obsidian black monoliths, motionless as death, hung in orbit around quarantine zones. Unmanned, indestructible, and silent. They bore no symbols, no demands. Only one chilling inscription in every known language, etched into their surface like a scar. Observe, but do not interfere. The wardens are watching. At first, no one believed it was humanity. The last known Terran broadcast was centuries old. Just static and laughter, screams and music, a garbled farewell as the species folded inward and disappeared from known space. When the Lorathi Consortium sent a stealth vessel into a forbidden sector, it returned in pieces. Not destroyed, dismantled, every component rearranged into a perfect sphere. The crew was still alive inside, fused into the ship's systems, screaming in languages they'd never learned. That was the first warning. The second came when the Dravari tried to breach the Orion barrier with a fleet of antimatter cruisers. They never made it past the first relay node. A single pulse from the nearest warden satellite, and their entire armada was paused. Frozen mid-motion, engines glowing, weapons charging, but time itself locked around them like amber. They're still there. To this day, you can fly to the edge of the zone and see them, suspended in the void like a warning carved into the fabric of reality. The universe learned quickly. Curiosity costs lives. Defiance cost species. It wasn't until the Scoth Rebellion that anyone dared try again. A hive race born of ice and rage. The Scoth thrived on entropy. They believed they could infect the grid, dissolve its patterns, break free what lay within. They were wrong. The retaliation wasn't a fleet or a weapon. It was a man. He appeared aboard the Scoth Warmind ship without any trace of entry. Pale skin, dark uniform, no armor, no visible weapon. Just a black badge etched with a Terran sigil, a clenched fist wrapped in chains. He spoke once. You are authorized for memory redaction. And then the ship was gone. Not destroyed. Not obliterated. Gone. No debris. No signal. Just silence. As if the ship and its 10,000 souls had been edited out of existence. Every empire, every alliance, every gosling and construct across the stars understood the message. Humanity hadn't vanished. They'd evolved. They'd taken a new role. The stars weren't theirs to explore anymore. They were theirs to manage. Because the truth was worse than anyone imagined. The grid wasn't a fortress. It was a cage. Each sector, each sealed cluster, each black zone was a containment unit for something unspeakable. Parasites that fed on dimensions. Quantum diseases that infected the past. Entities made of thought, once worshipped as gods, now bound in psychic singularities. Things that should never have existed, and once did, only because the universe had been too chaotic to stop them. But not anymore. Humanity saw the truth. The stars were too wild, too dangerous, too alive. So they tamed them, with protocols, with order, with fear. Where chaos once thrived, now silence reigned. Cold, unyielding, safe, and the Warden Corps enforced it. Most had never seen a warden. Those who had remembered only eyes like dying stars and voices that echoed across dimensions. They didn't age. They didn't sleep. Some whispered they weren't even human anymore, just fragment of the original species, uploaded into machines and minds built to last until heat death. Still, some resisted. Still, some believed they could outsmart extinction. That was how I found myself standing at the edge of the Centauri event horizon, watching a science vessel full of smugglers try to extract a sample from a forbidden zone. They thought they'd found a weakness in the containment net, a glitch in the Warden Code. They were wrong. I saw the ship split open like fruit. I saw it crawl out. It had no name, no shape, just motion, hunger, a blur of wrongness that bled light and chewed through metal like paper. For one moment, the stars themselves flickered. Then he arrived. The warden. He stepped from nothing, arms folded behind his back, eyes blank. He didn't speak. He didn't move. He just stared at the entity. And it stopped. Reality convulsed. I felt my ears bleed, my thoughts fray. The thing tried to retreat, tried to flee into subspace, to infect time, to become something else. The warden raised one hand and erased it, not destroyed, not killed, erased, like a word unspoken, a dream forgotten before waking. The stars brightened again. The ship was gone. The warden turned to me. He said one thing: do not mistake our silence for absence. Do not mistake our restraint for mercy. And vanished. That was the third warning. Now I sit, alone in a station orbiting the prison of galaxies, watching the grid pulse and breathe like a sleeping giant. Somewhere inside it, 1,000 horrors wait to wake. But they never will, because the Warden Corps never sleeps, because the universe is a prison, and humanity is still watching, still guarding, still listening. And God help us all if they ever stop.